Hello, this is Kelvin Red. I want to welcome you to the Red Zone. Tonight, I am going to be talking about the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome came about due to a study back in the 1970s when these researchers were studying successful women. They determined after a long study that 70% of adults in general experience the imposter syndrome. And so tonight I want to talk to you about that. Men suffer from it too. Don't get me wrong. And I'm one of those individuals that I can identify with it a little bit, probably a little bit more than a little bit. There was a period in my career, and I think I keep talking about this, when I was an underwriter. I was working in banking, and I got this opportunity to become an underwriter. And while being an underwriter for about 18 months, I realized I did not enjoy the job. I was in a basement with no windows. I was looking at financial numbers all day long, and it wasn't me. It wasn't something that I was good at. It wasn't something that I enjoyed doing. But I would go into the office every single day and wore my nice suit and brought my briefcase in, and I just kind of tried to fake it until I made it, and it didn't necessarily work out for me. And I really felt in retrospect that I was being an imposter. It wasn't something that I was enjoying. I didn't like it. Now, being an underwriter in a banking environment is extremely, extremely important. But for me personally, it was not something that was meant to be. It was not something for me. It was not. I shouldn't have been doing it. And one of the lessons that I learned is interesting, because when I left the banking environment and started working at the Pastoral Institute, which is a counseling and education center. It's a Samaritan center. I worked with a lot of therapists at the time, and I think it really helped heal me of this imposter syndrome, because that's when I began my journey towards self-awareness. Okay, so the topic tonight is 5 ways to rid yourself of the imposter syndrome. Now, the first thing you need to do is to remember your achievements, okay? Because you're walking around and you're feeling less than, okay? And a lot of times it happens when you find yourself in a job or a position doing something that you don't necessarily have the talent to do, which leads to the lack of fulfillment and lack of joyfulness. And so you got to remember, you got to dig deep and remember all the things that you've ever done that garnered you some success or accomplishments. Let me give you an example. I used to keep a file. I used to call it the good things file. And this good things file was a file of everything that I did well. Like if I got a nice memo or a nice email or an award or something like that, I would tuck it away in that file. And I kept it for years, and I still have it. And I would keep it at my office. And I started keeping it when I would always like to prepare for my annual review with my boss. And then I kept it years later. And what I would do, sometimes I would stumble upon it. And when I stumbled upon it, I realized I would look at it and I would think, wow, you've actually had a lot of success. You've actually done well. And like right now, I am in my studio. This is a studio that I'm in right now. And so the hallway that leads to this particular studio, I have on the walls big plaques, big pictures of all the workshops that I have had since I've been in business for myself. I have pictures of people that I have worked with. And it serves as a motivator for me as I walk into this studio. So the first thing that you need to do is to remember your achievements. The second thing is give yourself credit. Don't get in the habit of talking about yourself negatively. Don't do that. My attitude has always been, there are enough people in this world who want to say things bad about me. Why should I add on to it? Okay. So you got to be able to change your mindset about yourself. So whenever you catch yourself, about to say, I say something bad about yourself, because I have clients, I have coaching clients, I have friends. And when I talk to them, every now and then when things aren't going well, somebody will say something like, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to make sure you give yourself credit. If something doesn't go your way, and if it is indeed a failure, learn from it. Learn from it and move forward. The second thing, you got to be able to accept uncertainty. And that's really, really important because the imposter syndrome is associated with perfectionism. You want to be so perfect that when you don't measure up to your standards or other standards, you want to criticize yourself. Okay. And uncertainty is extremely important. Let me give you an example. I've been in business for myself since 2015, and I'm a very structured person. I am someone who likes structure, processes, schedules, to-do lists. But what I have discovered over the last several years, that if you're going to be in business for yourself, you have to be able to embark on the journey toward uncertainty, because that's what unlocks your creativity. You know, if I'm sitting and I'm working on a project and my phone rings, in the past I wouldn't answer it because I'm thinking, I'm working on something. I'd be so, inflexible. But now I answer the phone because you never know what type of great opportunities that are out there. It's okay to say no if you don't want to do something, but you never know. Another thing you got to do is to validate yourself. Live up to your own standards rather than living up to the standards of other people. And that gets a lot of folks in a lot of trouble. You do things because you want to please man and want to please other people. No, please yourself. Set your own standard. Have your own values. And then the final thing you want to do is to appreciate the effort that you put in. I'm working extremely hard, especially during this COVID-19 outbreak, to keep the business up and running and doing well. And so there are some days when I feel like I'm working extremely hard and I don't see the progress. But it's important to look at the things that you're doing well on a day-to-day basis, on an hour basis. It's almost like planting seeds. You get up very early in the morning to write a dissertation. You might start at 7 o'clock and you don't finish until late afternoon. But when the day is over, you haven't completed the dissertation, but you've probably penned chapter 1. You've probably written several paragraphs. You're out selling houses and you're trying your best to sell houses and make ends meet and do very well. But you may not have sold a house today, but you may have showed the house to maybe 8, 9, 10 people, and they may not buy it today, but they may buy it in a week or two, or they may call you up. You got to continue to plant the seeds and work each and every day and reward yourself for the efforts. Look, this is Kelvin Red. I wanted to chat with you tonight about 5 ways to rid yourself of the imposter syndrome. If you would like to know more about this, I have a bonus on my website at www.kelvinred.com. Go to my website and go to the Red Zone. And today I uploaded an article on the imposter syndrome, but I added some bonus points on how to rid yourself of the experience of being an imposter and thinking you are, but you're not. Focus on yourself, do the things that you know that you're supposed to do, and keep working, and one day everything will pay off. This is Kelvin Red from the Red Zone. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you later.